Namaste, dear listeners, and welcome to the Iowa channel. Astro In with Abhi, Oneness in Astrology and Spirituality, bringing in awareness by Abhi. Thank you so much to everybody that has been following my podcast. If you are new onto the channel, please make sure you have subscribed. Click on the share button and share this podcast with as many people that you feel that would benefit from such insights. So without further ado, I'm going to go straight into it. Hello, Abhi. Here's a question here. Hello, Abhi. Please, can you explain what is spirituality more deeper? From a person who knows not much, please, can you advise me on the spiritual process and what is spirituality? So we're going to talk about what is spirituality first. So on this podcast, I'm going to name it what is spirituality, and then I'm going to progress onto the other questions and other podcasts. So spirituality comes from the actual word spirit. So spirituality based on awareness by Abhi, my awareness, means to transcend in spirit. To transcend where? To transcend beyond the material dimension of existence. So fundamentally, we are spirit having a humane experience. We have fallen from spirit into matter. So our spirit has fallen from the astral dimension into the physical dimension. Therefore, in order to maneuver ourselves, we need a body. So we've got this body, which is the vehicle, and we are maneuvering ourselves. However, we've also got a mind, a mind which is not who we are, but we need to control the mind as spirit. We need to control the mind, or we are led by the mind, which can take us, or which actually keeps us down here. In most cases, most human beings are in the dimension of the physical world. So, what is spirituality? Spirituality is going back upstairs. Upstairs is not someplace up in the skies, but it's a state of consciousness, an experience beyond the material, beyond the five senses, beyond the physical body, beyond the mental body, beyond the pranic body, the energy body, entering into the transient body, finally into the bliss body, which is the astral dimension of the spiritual world. This can also be described in the chakra system. The Muladhara chakra, the sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra is in the 3D, the three dimensions. It's the physical world. And then you've got the heart chakra, throat chakra. Here we are entering in the transient phase. And once we enter the sixth dimension, which is the third eye chakra, from here we get into the crown, which is the spiritual world. So this can be described in the chakra system, also in the five sheets of the body, or it can be described as frequencies. So the frequencies in the spiritual world. Spiritual world means the world beyond the world that we are living in, the material world in consciousness. You know, as human beings, we get so entangled with material pleasures that we forget who we actually are. We get so entangled between the material pleasures of the world, we get entangled with it, and as a consequence of this, we are stuck in the dimension of experiences, which gives us pain and pleasure and pain, or happiness and sadness. But you see, in the spiritual world, there's no happiness and sadness. There is just peace, bliss, pure bliss. This is the dimension of Shiva, that which is not. Neither happiness nor sadness, but just pure peace. It's consciousness, pure consciousness. So spirituality is the movement of self from the material dimension in consciousness to that which is beyond the material dimension, which is the spiritual dimension or the astral dimension and beyond. Now, the astral dimension I'd like to describe as the fourth body, which is the transient phase. And you can check up my other podcasts on the five sheets of the body, where I clearly explain the five sheets of the body in direct correlation to the chakras. I think I've done one podcast which has a direct correlation to the days of the week, which has a direct correlation to the actual colors. You can also check that up. Everything goes back into astrology. Astrology is part of spirituality. Astrology, studying astrology is a way to break free from the material dimension. It's one of the ways. You've got yoga, you've got heart yoga, you've got Kriya yoga, you've got Jnana yoga, you've got Karma yoga. These different and Bhakti yoga, these different types of yogas are a way to achieve oneness with source, and that is in the spiritual dimension. So fundamentally, if you are wanting to go on the spiritual path, it means that you have a strong desire to gain control over the five senses. You have a desire to not be controlled by the five senses. If you are such a person, it means that you are having an awakening, and you have a choice whether you would further into this or not. And that is the spiritual movement, or the spirituality. Spirituality means to gain control over the five senses. When you are stuck and being controlled by the five senses, it means that you are in the material dimension. So fundamentally, spirituality means being interested in wanting to know how to break free from the five senses, or seeing the consequences of being bound by the five senses. This is also spirituality. All right, so thank you, dear listeners. There's so much more to this, spirituality is a broad topic, and this I can go weeks on end discussing this topic. But to sum it up in just a few minutes, spirituality means just the movement from in consciousness from material to spiritual, to spirit self, or true self, or realizing true self. And the only way to realize true self is to gain control over the five senses. Right, so thank you very, very much, dear listeners, for listening to me. Jai Shri Ram, Om Namah Shivaya, Jai Shri Krishna, and Hari Bol. Goodbye.